All right, we good?
Yeah.
All right, so there's a couple reasons why I think nuclear energy is not really a good idea. One of them is there's not a lot of good places to put the waste from it, and wherever you put it, it doesn't matter wherever you put it, that land is going to be damaged for hundreds of thousands of years. And yeah, it just ruins it. And then another one is there usually seems to be a gap of about 30 years between every big nuclear energy disaster where a reactor melts down or something along those lines. The first one was Chernobyl, and then about 30 years later, the next one was in Japan. And then another 30 years after that, one happened in Philadelphia. And then, yeah, that's about it.
So, first, let's take a look at the basics. What is nuclear energy? In simple terms, it's the result of heat created by the fission or fusion of processed uranium, which then boils water, converting it into steam that turns a turbine and generates electricity. This specific type of process is the one used in the light water reactors, and while outdated, this model of nuclear plant has been the most used due to its availability and cheapness compared to other reactors. With this in mind, it is noticeable that the use of uranium is the main reason why these nuclear plants work in the first place. However, it is also the reason why so many people do not trust the process of nuclear energy. Uranium can be an efficient form of producing energy, but it can also have a high risk of becoming unstable and beginning a radioactive reaction that could change an entire region for thousands of years. This fact has only brought doubts and fear to nuclear energy, which adds to the list of arguments against its development, because nuclear reactors are not only expensive to make, but also have a potential for tragedy quite pronounced. There are many things that could go wrong, and also many examples of what went wrong. Since their implementation to society, there have been 7 major nuclear incidents, 4 of these being partially contained and the other 3 resulting in historical catastrophes, all of which caused thousands of deaths and made large areas of land unfit for human habitation for thousands of years. And if we really think about it, there is a span of about 30 years between each major nuclear disaster. So, is it really worth developing nuclear energy at the expense of knowing that it is probable that in the next 30 years there may be another fatal event? Thanks to the help of big countries, nuclear energy has been tried to be shared in a peaceful way. However, countries such as South Africa, Greece, or India have taken advantage of this, and with the help of nuclear technology, they developed nuclear weapons. And the fact of the matter is, it is really hard to differentiate a nuclear weapon program from a peaceful research on nuclear energy. There are also many other countries that have shared nuclear technologies between each other, always concluding in that country having nuclear weapons of their own. It is well known that nuclear waste remains radioactive for at least 1,000 years and can still be harmful after 10,000 years. Its disposal is based on burning it until it's safe to handle, or recycle the waste through a process called reprocessing. However, the downside of this recycling is that its handling is different than regular procedure, so other more expensive types of nuclear plants are needed in order to use the recycled waste. If not, the recycled waste is used in the development of nuclear weapons. Most people, after reading or learning about all the downsides that nuclear energy has, would usually go against it. After all, it has the potential to obliterate all of humanity's progress, and it may even destroy a future on planet Earth if used in a malicious way. And if you really think about it, it truly is terrifying, thinking that if a third world war were to happen, nuclear armament would surely be used. Nonetheless, it has been proven that this monster of a resource is one of the best energy alternatives for mankind's future.
Alright.
Alright, it's a recording, okay. Can you please tell me what do you think about nuclear energy?
I think nuclear energy is a great thing. And I think this because not only is it super efficient, but it's super powerful too. I know there are lots of worries about nuclear energy and the fact that it can really hurt a place if it decides to go and blow up. But I do think that it is the most efficient source of power we have, and it can be pretty clean as long as nothing blows up. So.
According to the US Department of Energy, nuclear is often left out of the clean energy conversation, despite it being the second largest source of low carbon electricity in the world behind hydropower. Since the process of creating energy in a nuclear reactor only involves uranium and water steam, it produces no pollution. Additionally, the amount of power produced from nuclear energy is impressive, being at least 1 million times better than any other common energy source. Moreover, the area that nuclear plants cover is significantly smaller than other green energy sources. Similarly, the longevity of this energy is not in question. Some nuclear plants have been producing energy for the last 6 decades without producing significant waste, covering 20% of all the energy in the United States. The constant maintenance of a nuclear plant can provide many jobs. According to the Nuclear Energy Institute, the nuclear energy industry is a powerful engine for job creation. The US industry directly employs nearly 100,000 people in high-quality, long-term jobs. This number climbs to 475,000 when you include secondary jobs. We cannot afford to lose nuclear jobs by choosing plants, nor we can afford to miss out on thousands of jobs that building new reactors will create. Numbers do not lie. This is an irrefutable proof of the true benefits of nuclear reactors. The jobs provided do not focus only on engineering. There is a diverse net of options. Carpenters, electricians, masons, lawyers, entrepreneurs, financial managers, and many others are the reason why nuclear plants are so successful, not to mention engineers and scientists. This diversity also allows the possibility for veterans to join as a regular worker. Additionally, in the local community, more jobs are assigned in order to manage the electricity that is produced from the plant. There is still a lot of room for improvement. Many are the ideas that can be implemented to increase the productivity of energy production. Likewise, effectiveness has not reached the summit yet. Since every worker has an important role in the maintenance of the reactor, time, materials, and staff can be managed in order to achieve maximum success. Moreover, there is one substantial change that is already being implemented in some reactors that could change how we see nuclear energy. To this day, the basis for nuclear energy is a fission-based reaction of uranium that produces heat. However, a new material could replace uranium. The name of this material is thorium. According to the Royal Society of Chemistry, thorium is a source of nuclear power. It is about 3 times as abundant as uranium and about as abundant as lead, and there is probably more energy available from thorium than from both uranium and fossil fuels. Uranium ore itself is quite hard to find. Once found, it becomes aggressive and produces high doses of deadly radiation. Once in the reactor, a couple mistakes can trigger this aggressive phase again, resulting in catastrophe. On the other hand, thorium is way easier to find and is not an aggressive ore. Single-handedly, thorium cannot produce heat. It needs the help of plutonium in order to work. In case of an emergency, these two components can be separated and that would solve the problem. Also, the waste produced from thorium is minimum and also recyclable. If nuclear energy keeps on being optimized, soon uranium will disappear from nuclear plants and thorium will take its place. Okay, hello. Could you please tell me what do you think about nuclear energy?
Nuclear energy, I feel like you could put nuclear energy into good use, or you could put it into bad use, like, you can make weapons out of it. I think you could use nuclear energy into weapons, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure the military uses that a lot. So I think it's like a good or bad thing, depending on who's using that type of energy.
With all the points and opinions already presented, it is only reasonable to have a conclusion of what decisions should humanity make in order to improve and progress. What really is best for humanity, maybe find another source of energy as efficient as nuclear energy, or perhaps keep on using fossil fuels until they run out and then start researching other types of alternative energies. Of course, either one would mean that by the time we manage to find something else, our planet will be heavily polluted, something that could have been prevented if nuclear energy had been used in the first place. Does that mean we have to rely completely on nuclear energy from now on? No, it only means that we have to keep on researching it. There are still many things that can be improved in its use. There are also all of the disadvantages that we already talked about. What if a reactor malfunctions? What if nuclear waste is not properly crushed or recycled? Nuclear energy should not be our own source of energy, but it should be the most developed. New sources of energy are needed for humanity's future, and with the increasing population, more joules ought to be held. The correct use of nuclear energy can provide future generations with power, jobs, and innovation. And even though there are many countries that are still against the use of this alternative energy, I am 100% sure that in the near future, nuclear energy will take over the world and become the salvation for future generations.